Okay, recording has started. You're on, Jose.
Okay, so first, which version of Tomcat should I download?
Excellent question. Any version 8 or 9 both should work. And I would
Okay.
not use 10 because 10 is alpha. So alpha means that it's in development and probably has bugs.
Um,
And you're on Windows, right? So you want the... Let's scroll down a little bit. Okay, so there is... You can do the 32-bit Windows Service Installer, or you can do the 32-bit Windows Zip. It's up to you which one you want to use.
um, guess I'll go with the 32 one.
Okay. All right.
And it take a little to download it.
Okay, so while that downloads, I'll just, do you have any questions about Tomcat and what it is? Have you heard of it before?
Not really. I
Okay.
haven't heard of it.
Okay, so let me give you a quick overview since we have a few minutes. So Tomcat is what's called a web server. And all that means is it's built to basically host web pages. And it could be anything from like weather.com to Facebook to whatever. So any kind of a web page you see, it's running in some kind of a web server. And all that means is it handles web requests and sends responses. So that's really all it does. Now behind the scenes, a web server does a lot of different things. Like for example, you can have like code behind the web page when it's a dynamic web page like Facebook, for example, where people are posting and they're responding. And so a web server will serve up the web pages, and sometimes, or oftentimes, if the content is changing and it's dynamic and people are doing stuff, the web server handles all of that kind of logic and stuff, right? So like if you log in, the web server will handle that and go, oh, hey, Peter's trying to log in. What's his username and password? So I put it in the web page and I click log in. That then sends that information to the web server, and the web server then does what it needs to do. So like if there's a database, it'll go, hey, does this match for Peter? Is this his password? And then if it's not, it'll say, hey, yo, you're not Peter. You can't log in. And then it can do things like, if someone tries to log in as me and they fail 3 times, they could do things like send you an email saying, hey, did you try to log in from France? Was that you? And if it wasn't me, I can say, no, that was not. So basically, like a web server lets you do a whole bunch of like logic and make the content dynamic and change and make it really up to date. Whereas a static web page, for example, it doesn't change. So like if someone were to post a bunch of pictures, then those things don't change. And then that doesn't need, so that could still be in a web server, it just doesn't have any complicated programming logic behind it. That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions about Tomcat?
Not at the moment.
Okay. All right. And so Tomcat, just a bit more information. So in the Java world, there's a couple of different web servers, and Tomcat is one of the like top 3 most popular web servers written in Java. And In other languages, there's different web servers. So like if you're using Python, Python has its own. If you're using C#, it's got its own. If you're using some other language, they usually have their own. Like JavaScript has Node.js is their web server that they use. That's the most popular one. And Tomcat is probably the most popular one because one, it's free, it's good, it has all the features you need, but mainly because it's reliable and it's free. Okay, so me asking others and see if they have Tomcat downloaded. Alright, okay. So there's 2 minutes left. Okay. Alright, let's see. So Alex says it's loading very slowly for him, but almost. Okay. Well, it'll be done soon. Okay. Other things that might be useful for you guys about web servers. The main protocol that's used for web servers is called HTTP. And I'll just bring it up on my browser so you guys can see it. Let me see here. Not that. There we go. Okay. So here is the Wikipedia page on HTTP. And while we wait for it to download, so it stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and it was invented by Tim Berners-Lee at CERN back in 1989. And all it really does is it defines how to send information between a browser and a server. And when you guys have time, it might be interesting to look at it. And especially if you want to learn more about HTTP and how it works, that's a good place to go. Alright. Is your download done? Hey, it is. Excellent. Okay. Alright, so you can go and unzip that now to wherever you want. So it should be in your downloads folder. Okay, there it is. So you can double click to unzip it. Oh, okay, actually, so click that, go up like 2 levels. So there's a up arrow at the top there. Just click the up arrow. Go to move your mouse up. Keep going up, and go to the left. Right there. Yep. There you go. Okay. And then click extract. Extract button. There's a button at the top of the pink. You see it? It says extract.
Oh, Oh,
Did it extract it? Extract all. Okay. So now change the folder to. Actually, stop that. Yeah. Okay. So actually, okay. Close that window and go back to the other one. Okay. So click extract.
I don't think it's clickable.
That's not okay. So actually beneath that is extract all.
Oh.
Okay. Now click browse, and then you want to select the C drive, and then click new folder at the top there. New folder. Yep, and then call it the Tomcat. Okay, and then select folder. Okay, and extract. There we go. All right. Okay, let's see. If anyone has questions, let me ask. Okay. And is your Netbeans open? It is, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so after this is done extracting, we'll go to the next step, which is to set up Netbeans. And we have 6 people on today, so that's nice. Alright, almost there, 88%.
Yep.
You kind of spoil that. I have a fast computer, so things happen much faster on my system. They're just like chugging along, like, oh, I need more power. Okay. Excellent. Okay, so it's there. Now, go to your Netbeans. Excellent. Okay. So, if you go to Tools at the very top there in the menu, and scroll down to Servers, you can click that one.
Servers.
Yep. Okay. So now what we're doing is we're adding Tomcat as a server. And if you click Add Server, it gives you some options. And the first one there is Tomcat. Okay, I'm going to go next. Okay, so it's activating the plugins that it needs to connect to a web server, and it's installing it, which is kind of nice because you don't have to go and download that stuff. It'll do it for you automatically. And once it's done, okay, here we go. Now you see that first field there says server location. So what that is referring to is where Tomcat is extracted to. So if you click Browse, you can go to your folder that we've extracted it. And I think if you click on this PC, that'll give you the drives. There you go. It's under the C drive, right? Oh, okay, so click browse again. And then double click on the Tomcat folder so you can see, now select the Apache Tomcat. There you go. And then open. Hey, alright. Okay, and you can uncheck create user at the bottom there. You don't need that one. Yep, and then click finish. Okay, excellent. Close. Alright, so I see you already created a project called Sudoku webpage, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so when you created it, did you create a web project or just a regular Java project? Do you remember?
Just a regular project.
Okay. So then let's delete that and we'll recreate it. So select Sudoku webpage and then just delete it. You can do a right click, I think, and delete.
I'm clicking delete.
Okay. There you go. Okay. Alright, so now just do a file, click file, and then new project. Yep. And now, so we've got Gradle selected, and now select web application. Should be the third one. On the
web
right,
application?
On the right there, right? You see it? So you've selected Java with Gradle, so that's correct. And then on the right side, you have Java application, Java class library, and web application. The right panel.
This one?
No, so on the right side, where it says projects, your other right.
Oh. Right.
It's okay. Yep, so select web project. Yep, right there.
This one?
Yep. And then go next. And then you can give it a name.
Okay.
Okay.
Then next.
So one thing, so one tip. In Windows, if you put spaces in the project name, it can sometimes cause weird behaviors. And so I tend to avoid that. And so what I do is I'll either put an underline or I'll just like uppercase the first word. So like you could do capital W instead of, yeah, yep, that works too. And then click next. All right, and so notice now we have Tomcat selected. You can click finish. All right, so while that's doing that, let me ask people if they have Tomcat installed. Excellent. All right. So it created the project for you. Now, before we continue, do you have any questions about this?
Will we be creating our own servlets?
Ah, good question. So the answer to that is we can, but it's actually not necessary.
Oh, okay.
Which is a roundabout way of saying there's a lot of different ways to write a web page. And for a simple project, you probably don't need to, and it probably is faster if you just write it as a JSP. But if you're on a big project, like on an actual like business application, then yes, most people will write a servlet because you want to separate the kind of the look and feel of the UI from the actual logic of how things work. And so that's why there's like servlets, so that you could put all the logic in one place that's separate from how things look and feel. And that way you can change the look and feel without having an impact on the code.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now if you want to see this, you can click the play button to see what happens. Okay. So click allow access. Yeah, click allow. And then just click OK. Okay, so it wants the Tomcat manager. Okay, I think the default is, I believe it is Tomcat is the name. Let me just double check here.
Oh.
Let me look. All right, let me look on my system and I'll tell you. All right, and the way you can tell is if you go to this, under the Apache folder, Apache Tomcat folder, there's a conf folder, and under there, there's this thing called Tomcat Users Xml. And if we open this with like text edit, why are we doing that? No, let's close, please, I don't want that. Okay, let me bring this over. So this is, so you'll notice here on my screen that there's Tomcat, and then it says password must be changed. So let's go look at yours and see what it says. So let's go back to your screen. Okay, so actually hit cancel.
Okay.
And then go to your Windows Explorer.
Is this one?
You want the Windows Explorer, not the Internet Explorer. So you can close the browser. Yep.
Hello?
Yep. So click on the folder, right, the Windows Explorer. It's right next, just to the right of the browser icon. Yep, that one.
Sorry, it's cutting off for some reason.
Oh, okay, no problem. So go into the Apache Tomcat folder and go into the conf folder. And then you'll see Tomcat Users. So open that up in WordPad or text or Notepad, one or the other. Okay. So now, if you scroll down, yep, keep going. Okay, now notice that there's like an exclamation dash dash. So you want to delete that line above role name Tomcat where it says like lesser than exclamation dash dash. Nope, go up a little. Nope.
These ones?
No. So go to the line above that. Right there. Yep. So
here?
Delete that.
This whole line?
Yep. And then where it says Tomcat, where it says must be changed, just type in a password that you want. It can be whatever. No, not that. So leave it the same, Tomcat. The next, the third line, username, and password. So change the password.
Oh.
Yep, and you want to get rid of the lesser than, greater than. You don't need that. Nope. So right there, the password, right? In the quotes, you just want to delete everything inside the quotes. Yep.
Delete these?
Yep. And then choose whatever password you want. You can.
I'll just keep it simple.
Okay. And then save it. File, save, or Control S. Yep. Okay. And then you can close that. And now if we go back to Netbeans and try to run it, we can type in Tomcat and Sudoku for the password. Okay, so username is Tomcat. And then your password. Oh, I didn't like it. It's the capital S, right?
Yeah. Just.
Okay, I think I know why. So it's the manager application. Okay, so let me show you on my. I'm going to share my screen so people can see, and then you can follow along. Okay. Let me open the file up. Alright, so I'll come in here, I'll delete that, and I'll delete this, and then I'll come in here, and I'll delete this, okay, and then I'll change this to manager. And then in here, I'll add manager. And I'll save this. And if I come back here now, and if I run this, okay, Tomcat. I type it correctly. Oh, okay. So I didn't like that. Cancel. Okay. Let me check. Did I have a typo here? Roles. Tomcat. Manager. Save. Try it again. There you go. Cancel. Alright, let me look here. Nope. Okay. Build scripts, build settings, configuration, Java dependencies. Okay, so maybe tools, servers, Tomcat. if I do here, Tomcat, okay. Credentials of an existing user in the manager script. Okay, manager script. That's why. Manager dash script. Okay, so that's what I want. So here now we have to do manager dash script. And save it. And now in theory, once we run it, no, it still doesn't like it. Okay. So let me do this then. So I don't have the server set up correctly. Let's see. So let me try this. If we select that and we go remove server. Okay. Now if I do it, next, browse, applications, Tomcat, open. Okay, so Tomcat, Sudoku. Close. So now if I run it, alright, is it running? Okay. So it looks like it's running. So down here, you see this? It looks like it is running. So let me open up a web page in the web browser and try to go to it. So if I go to localhost 8080, okay, so there it goes. So it is working. And then if I go to Sudoku web, what do I get? Nothing. Okay. Alright, so on your system, so let's try that. Let's try deleting. So go to tool server and let's remove it and then try to re-add it. So hit cancel.
Then tools.
Yeah, go to servers. Yep. And then let's remove that server and re-add it. So let's select it and just click remove server. Hit cancel. It should be fine. There we go.
Then we add it again.
Yeah. Yep. So next. And then yep. Click browse. Yep. There it goes. Okay. So for enter credentials for existing user in the manager or manager script. Okay, so there, try typing Tomcat and then Sudoku and see if that works.
For the username?
Yeah, so you have Tomcat, right, for yours?
Oh, yep. Then I click close.
Yep. Okay. So now let's try running it again and see what happens. So hit cancel. Okay, and then try to bring up Chrome and go to localhost :8080 and see what happens. See if it's at least running. Localhost, yep, :8080.
Should I just click enter?
No, so host, yep, colon, and then 8080. Yep, now hit enter. Okay, so it is running. So that's good. And now if you click on Manager App, let's click on that and see what happens. It's like the, yep, that's it. And try Tomcat and Sudoku for that. It should work because we changed your settings. So, oh, I didn't like it. Okay, so we need to fix that. So let me. Okay, so Giselle's having problems installing the plugin. All right, so let's fix your problem first, and then I'll help Giselle with hers. Okay, so hit cancel, and go back to Netbeans and click the stop button. So let me. Let me do it on my system, and we'll get it. So let me do this. Okay, so I have that, and I have this. And if I go to Manager App, okay, hit cancel. If I go to here, and I'll go Manager. File. Oops. Didn't do that. There we go. I'll go with it. So file, save. I gotta stop it first. Okay. So let me go back to Netbeans here and stop. Stop. Cancel. All right. So now it's stopped. Okay. All right. Let me go back to here. Tomcat. What? Why did it let me in? Cancel. Oh, Manager GUI. That's why. Okay. So you have to add that also. So Manager dash GUI. File save. And then back to here. And actually this one. And stop it. Okay. Stopping. copying. All right, now click run. Come back to this page. Okay. Tomcat. Sudoku. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so there's an issue here. What is going on here? It says unauthorized. Change configured files in there. Okay, so let's go look at the Tomcat documentation. And if we go to here, setup, or actually manager. Okay. Okay, so here's configuration file. You have time to configure to support more. Okay, no, not that part. There is settings, settings, settings. Okay. Okay. Manager setup. There you go. Okay, Tomcat Server XML. Security Manager. Okay, looks like they changed things. Okay, let me do this. Go to Google. Tomcat Users XML. For example. There we go. Configuring manager access. Okay. So go to this, which we did. You can find our role names in web XML. And we need to add manager-GUI. Manager-script. And then down here says this. Okay. So let's compare it to what we have. Username, password. So let's try changing that to a different user. And let's see if that works. Alright. I know what, let's do this. Let's delete that row. And let's delete this. Let's delete that. And let's save it. Now, if we come in here and we stop, yes, we want to stop it. Right. And then, instead of starting it from Netbeans, I'm going to change how I start it. And I'm going to do this. Where is my Tomcat? Let's see. Where is my Tomcat? It is under Applications, Happy Tomcat. Okay. Now if I come in here and I do start up.h, Tomcat started. Okay. So this is the other way to start Tomcat, is outside of Netbeans. And so now, in theory, if I do that now, hey, it works. Okay, so take a guess why it didn't work from Netbeans. Do you have any clue?
No.
Nope. Okay. So this is because Netbeans isn't actually using, so here's the thing. When we unzipped Tomcat, right, and then it did that, and it has this file called Tomcat Users. And then we know we definitely changed it, right? Because you changed it and you saved it. But Netbeans says like, hey, that user doesn't exist. And that's because Netbeans isn't using this copy, this file here. It's using another copy that it made called Tomcat Users. And that's why. So that's why it wasn't letting us log in. It's because Netbeans, when it creates a project, it will actually make copies of these files someplace else. And the reason for that is kind of for a couple of reasons. Like, you could have multiple web applications that you're working on, and if you just have the same one, it might mess things up. And because of that, they think, well, okay, we should make copies of all this stuff and put it someplace else so that each project, like if you have 8 projects, this way if you change one project, it won't screw up the other 7. So that's why Netbeans, it was like saying, hey, you can't log in. It's like, yeah, it's because they used a different, they had made a copy of these files, like all of these, and it put it someplace else, and then it's using it when it starts. And so even though we changed it here, it didn't affect Netbeans at all, because Netbeans isn't actually even using it. So that's why.
Well, that's annoying.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it's super annoying. Okay, so now, if we come back here and just look at this, so we're almost done for the hour, but we can, I'll just kind of go over what this thing is. So this is the manager, and you'll see here that it lists all the different applications that are deployed in my Tomcat. And we don't see the Sudoku one here because it wasn't able to deploy to Tomcat, which makes sense because we weren't able to actually do it. So now, if I come back here, so this one, no. You find the right window here. There it is. Okay. So now, if I stop it, it'll stop it. Okay, yep, so it's completely stopped. Okay. And if I come back to the browser and I hit go to say, hey, you can't find it. So that's correct. So now the question is, in Netbeans, how do we change the configuration so that it'll work? And the answer is, okay, so in here, does it have it? Settings. Okay, so somewhere Netbeans hides those settings, and I don't see exactly where they put it. Okay. Services, web services, servers, Apache. Okay. So yes, edit server XML. What does that get us? Where is this file? Okay. All right. So we're almost done for the hour. Let me switch gears and answer Giselle's question. So her question is, I asked her, do you have it running? And she said, no, the server plugin. This is what it's, she said, she has it installed, but when she goes to create a project in Netbeans, there's no servers. So that means that it wasn't able to actually add the servers. So let me just show Giselle again how to do that. So what we do is we come to Tools and we go to Servers, and in there we can add the servers. So I'll just do it again. I'll click this, I'll remove the server, and I'll add a server, and I'll click Next, and then we'll browse. Open. So now, if I do this, use private configuration folder for calendar base. Okay. So what if I do this? Oh, okay. Says the specified calendar base folder is not valid. It must be either an empty folder or what? Ah, okay. Alright, so what if I do this then? And I go to home. Go up. And there. There. Alright, we try there. And then do what? Is not valid, must be empty. Still doesn't like that. Alright, that's kind of let me do that. And then come to here and go to Documents, Build, add new folder. Okay. Oh, doesn't like that. Okay. Finish. Alright. Okay. Okay, our hour is up. Let's see. Any questions? So what I'll do is I will get it working on my system, and then I'll send you all copies of the file so that way you guys can get at least Tomcat working in Netbeans.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Okay, let me see if Giselle had any questions. Anyone else? Yeah, so that's why we couldn't deploy, is because Tomcat was not set up correctly. Which is actually a very common problem. Like everyone goes through this. It also reminds me why I don't use Netbeans as my regular IDE. I use Eclipse because it's kind of a pain to get it set up in Netbeans. And actually, it prefers to use another web server called Glassfish. So that's kind of the funny part is they prefer a different one, and so Tomcat doesn't work nearly as seamlessly as Glassfish. All right. Okay, so over the weekend I'll get it working and I'll send you guys instructions on how to do it, and then hopefully you guys can do it. All right, good job, Jose. We'll look for the email, and then hopefully that'll work for you.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good weekend.